Hello again, welcome to another video of GEOREKA, and today I'd like to highlight a little bit the plotting options that you have for point data. So here we've got some midpoints for a deposit, some gold silver deposit. So we have only two parameters here, silver and gold, and we'll look at the different plotting options that you have to investigate your data a little bit more. So besides the point, we have some shortcuts, and the middle one is the one for chart options. So if you click on the point itself, there's a button here at the bottom as well. But generally, this is an easy way of accessing the data, or the plots. Alright, so here, if you click the button, it pops up with this dialog, and here we can actually have different types of plots that we might want to look at. So I'll squeeze the window down a little bit so we can also have a look at the 3D view at the same time. Alright, so we'll start with a frequency plot. Let's set the number of bins to like 500. And you see you have a distribution of your silver values. So one thing to notice is that if you're selecting an attribute here, then that's the main attribute that you'll be looking at for all the plots. So here you see at the top that these plots are for this silver. So we can use the left mouse to move around, use the scroll button to zoom in, zoom out. If you want to do those sorts of things and investigate your data. If you want to zoom in on a particular section, you can click on the scroll button itself and drag all the way along the area where you're interested in. So you can even say, okay, let's focus on a particular area here, so you can see that you can zoom in quite nicely this way, and then use your scroll button to zoom out again. Alright, so if we hover over the bins, we get some feedback on the average value here and the number of elements within each bin. But what we can also do, and which is probably the most interesting one here, is that we can do selections. So for this we can right click and drag across a number of bins, and you can see that they are turning red here. So this means that we're now selecting all the points that fall within these bins, and we can actually display the meaning of 3D view. For this we need to go back to our shortcuts here, and on the right hand side there's also a selection which pops up this dialog, and I'll move that to the side. And here you can change the size and the color if I want to. I'll leave the color for what it is, but I'll change the size a little bit just to make it more obvious as to what's going on. So if we make another selection here using the right mouse button click, but I don't select anything, you can see that all the selected points disappear again. So we can make a selection of a single bin this way, see which points are there, or we can zoom out a little bit and say, okay, we're interested in all the high grades, and we select them. So for smallish data sets up to maybe 1 million or maybe 2 million points, this is going to be almost instantly highlighting those points. Once your selection reaches a couple of million, it might be a little bit slower, but in most cases it will be very, very quick to update anyway. Alright, so this is just on the frequency plot. So as you can see, you can change the number of bins here quite easily. Say I'm interested in a more coarse distribution. Say okay, I'll update this. So now I can make new selections here. Or if you want to have more detail, you can do the same thing and update it there and say okay, I'm really interested in all these high grades here, and then you can start zooming in to see that you actually selected them. Similarly, we can also create the cumulative frequency plot of this. So let's make this also based on 1,000 bins. And what you can see here is that there's a number of red markers here, which is actually the bins that I've selected here, and you can see where they end up on the cumulative frequency plot here. So whenever you create a plot, it opens up as a new tab here, so you can switch between them, and yeah, that way you can select the various options here. So now let's go to standard variogram. I'll make it the maximum distance quite small. Let's do only 300 meters, and we'll have 25 meter lag distances, just to make it go a little bit faster. So calculates the variogram. Here you have your plot. One thing to notice is that selections in the variogram don't highlight points here, because it's all related to distance between points, so they don't really relate to individual points directly. So you can make selections here, but they don't highlight anything in your 3D view. So together with the variogram, we also have a variogram plot, so it brings up the same dialog. We recreate it. Now we just have to wait. So yep, now we see our variogram plot. This one doesn't really allow you to zoom in or anything, just gives you a bit of an overview. And we also experimented with another option, which is the 3D variogram plot. So let's recalculate this one again as well. You notice that it's going to be a little bit slower. So I'll just close this one. So this is really a 3D view of your variogram plot. So you can see that you have your distances and X, Y, Z, and then you have your values here. You can change things like the opacity here, make them and then we can update maximum distance as a button is overlapping the text a little bit. We'll fix that. So this way you can highlight a little bit the directional information. It's been a bit of an experimental one, just to highlight. It does show you a little bit the influence of the drill spacing a little bit. Finally, we can also, I'll close this window. We can also create a scatter plot. So we only have two elements here, just the silver and the gold. So the second column is just the gold itself. And now we can zoom in, and again we can do selections here and say, okay, just select all the high grade silver, but there's also high grade gold. So we can also say, okay, we had the silver, but we want to have only the silver where the gold is high as well. So that way you can make multiple selections and interactively see how they distributed in 3D. Finally, there's the parallel plot. I won't go into that today. That's part of a separate video, so I urge you to look at that one. That's more for multi-element analysis of your data, which is a bit of a slightly different topic to look at. Alright, hope you found it useful. Until next time.